Hi everybody, this is orientation for the clinical instructors for chronic care simulation. First of all, thank you all so much for playing a role in the students and their future and for better outcomes. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So you as clinical instructors, what we're going to have is you're going to have this. This is going to be your tool. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to open it up, and everything I'm going to email you. This right here is a schedule, and I know it looks confusing, but what it's going to have, like for instance, this one in particular, I know I've got Diana Bowen in room 205. That's the room that you're going to report to. I've got Miss Lamont in 230. Excuse me, Diana, you're not in 205, you're in 225. Miss Lamont in 230 and Dr. Espinosa in 235. And so we've got the rooms here. And like I said, I'm going to email them to you. So you're going to start off here in those rooms. And what you're going to do is you're going to be teaching the students how to mix meds, how to start an IV on a machine, and it's going to be the Braun machine. So if anybody already knows how to do it, that's great. And then a ticket to class. And so as soon as the students arrive, we need to make sure that they have a ticket to class, because that's considered clinical. And so if they haven't done it, then we need to know, either me or Miss Reyes, so we can write them up immediately. So the first thing you're going to do, we'll have a highlighter for you. Check. Done, 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 done. And then what you're going to do is you want to introduce yourself, let them know what kind of experience you have as far as a nurse, and do a roll call. Make sure you've got the right students in the right rooms. So we've got the names right here and the room numbers and which students they're going to be, which students they are in what rooms. So do a roll call as well. Make sure everybody's on time. This is considered clinical. And if anybody is late, we do need to know about it, okay? Because that is points removed from their clinical evaluation tool. So next what we're going to do, that's the AM class, the PM class. Once you get to know everybody, and this is up to you, what they're going to learn is how to mix meds and how to start an IV on the machine. The mixing of the meds, this is the orders, and then the IV, this is the orders. This is the actual checkoff for the mixing of the meds, and it's basically listing everything that they need to do in order. And then the IV, this is, we're going to show you in a different video how to do those, but I'm just orienting you to this pack. So after that, you've got an hour and a half with these students. So what you're going to do is you're going to talk about mixing meds. You're going to have them do the IV piggyback, or the IV on a Braun machine. And then if there's time, hopefully there's time allotted, you're going to talk to them about IV insulin, or not IV insulin, just about IV, I did it again, about insulin and what we want the insulin to look like whenever the patient eats. So this simulation that we're going to do is going to be a patient with type 1 diabetes. So as I talk to you about an orientation about the simulation, I want you to start thinking about how these students might mess up or something in the simulation. They are second semester students and they're just learning, but they should have read all about type 1 and type 2 diabetes and kind of know the differences. And we want them to realize how once they eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, how their blood sugar spikes. And with the type 1 diabetes, there's not enough exogenous insulin for the patients to actually accommodate. So that's why we're giving them the insulin. And according to the orders, they're going to have regular and MPH. This right here is something that they need to know for the rest of their life, right? I tell them, you just need to memorize it, know it for NCLEX, know it for the exam. But this is the onset, the peak, and the duration of the rapid, the short acting, the intermediate acting, the long acting, and the inhaled insulin. If anybody's ever worked with some of the inhaled insulins, please talk about it, because I know I sure haven't. But talk to them about their peak and their onset. What can happen to a patient if you don't give them insulin and they're type 1 diabetic and they eat? Those are some of the questions that you might want to talk to the students about. So this simulation, after you have them for an hour and a half, we're going to come back here to the schedule. Then we're all going to go to room 235, where I'm going to conduct a pre-brief on the simulation. So the purpose of a simulation is so that the students can get used to a situation where they're the nurse and they can kind of start to feel what it's like to be a nurse. They need to take the situation very seriously, and one person is going to be a nurse, another person is going to be a family member, and another person the observer. Clinical instructors, you're going to be the patient and you're going to be in the background. While I'm giving pre-brief, I'm going to get Alma and Miss Reyes to kind of show you what rooms you're going to go to for simulation, and you're going to be the patient. So the purpose though of the simulation is you're going to be a mannequin just talking as you are the patient. The purpose is we just want to have the students talk about teaching for type 1 diabetes. We want them to reflect on the whole situation, what they could have done better, and how they worked with teamwork. So I give report. This is Skylar Hansen. He's an 18-year-old male brought into the ER in diabetic ketoacidosis 3 days ago. In the ICU, he received fluids and IV insulin. He now has an IV saline lock, and his electrolytes and blood sugars have been stabilized, and he's been transferred to the medical unit. And that's where this is going to take place. So his Foley catheter has been removed, and he's voiding without difficulty. His output last night was 700 cc's, and his mother or whatever family member is in the room is very worried about him and asking a lot of questions. So a student is going to be the family member, a mannequin is going to be the patient, but you're going to be doing the talking. So start thinking you're a new 18-year-old, newly diagnosed type 1 diabetic. Maybe you want to go out drinking with your friends. Ask the nurse, well, I want to go out drinking. What do I do? How do I handle my insulin? Let's see what this nurse says. You can be a difficult patient, you can be a nice patient, you can be whatever patient you want. The only thing I ask, throw them some curveballs. Say, hey, what do I do if I want to go ahead and go out drinking? What do I do if I need to give myself insulin and there's no place